My name is Ben Olson, and I am the creative director and principal of Monkeys and Aardvark Studios. There is no typical day. Things change on a constant basis. My daughter comes to work with me 3 days a week. That always gets interesting, but in a good way. Clients embrace the culture of what goes on here. It's a mix of family and business, and all the work gets done, and people have an interesting time. I have 3 dogs, the Canine Avengers. They come to work with me. Thor, Cap, and Vision, and it is spectacular. It's also good to get a break from the desk because they need to go out and instead of burying yourself in your work for 8 hours in a shot, it's kind of a good reminder that you got to get up and do something. And it's kind of just nice to have pets in the studio. But anything can range from rush projects at the last second to existing work we're doing on a whole nother venture, to people walking in at any given time, and especially the ones who may be dropping off a package. Maybe it's the FedEx guy who comes in and starts to take a look around and wants to ask a little bit more. Who knows? But the typical day isn't typical. The vibe of the studio is something that I wanted to be a mix of home and like miniature theme park, right? Primarily because we spend so much time here, and I want, as you look around things, there's stuff from our childhood, things that inspire us, right? And you're breeding creativity in this place. And secondly, for our clients that come in, it's a much different atmosphere for them to walk into our studio, which has a massive sectional couch, large screen, collaboration table, all these other things, toys everywhere, for them to walk into this place and immediately feel more comfortable with the fact that we want them to be creative. They're not stepping into a boardroom, it's nothing like that. They're in a place where they can just be comfortable. 3 monkeys and an aardvark are actual characters. They embody each one of the characteristics: visionary, planner, producer, and load bearer, if you will. We'll make cartoons of them someday and wonderful children's books. For now, they sit in a pretty cool logo that is stamped all over the place. Imagination and creativity is something that I've always been very passionate about. And because I'm a little bullheaded, right? The negative that I would get, we're not talking critique or candor, we're talking criticism and people not understanding, that whole side of things. I pushed past a lot of that because I knew what I wanted to do, right? I was fairly confident in that, but I've watched more people that want to do that and are a little scared of it, They don't want to put their ideas out there because it's an emotional thing, because what if they get shot down, and I totally understand that. Our mission of imagination and creativity this is why we do it. This is why I'm here. I am here because I want to use my imagination and be creative. I want other people, I want our clients to use their imagination and be creative. We are a collaborative studio. I am not one to dictate, you must do this. If you don't do this, then I'm gonna throw a tantrum, or here's what this is. No, let's work back and forth, because you're going to have insight and input, and we will take kernels of things and polish them and build them into something that's there. Now, we obviously take the creative lead on that, but everyone has this, and I want everyone to feel that. Like, there's something very rich in anyone. It could be a banker, I don't care who it is, right? When they feel like they can be creative and imaginative. And I've watched this because I've held events for this, and I've watched people in non-creative fields be creative and what that happened to them. It is the mission. Like, there is no other mission for the studio other than imagination and creativity. There's no box came from the Matrix, right? Which is, there is no spoon. And the brilliance of that line in what Neo is learning as he's introduced into this world of how are you able to accomplish that stuff is, well, what if you're looking at a spoon bending, but what if there is no spoon? Imagination, right? And to me, that related exactly to what we do. Like, what if we take the information and the creative brief and whatever it is, right? And if we completely obliterate the field and we start with nothing but information that we have and allow our ideas to come out. We're not pulling something out of something existing. We're starting fresh. We may end up somewhere similar, but we're going to explore, and we're not going to balance it off existing ideas. So there is no box. It's ultimate, it's creative freedom in thinking, you know, without attachments. I would love to say I'm a toy collector, except for the fact that, like, technically I'm probably not, because I take them out of the box. Some of them. I love, like, I'm affording my childhood, is what it comes down to. So all this stuff that I grew up with, Marvel, Batman the Animated Series, whatever you name it, right? I'm at the point now where I can buy something here, something there, and it's part of my childhood, and it's just cool. I love to have those things. Always love toys. You know, toys are part of imagination, right? You play with toys, you create stories with toys. Growing up now, nothing's changed with that for me, other than the fact that now I can afford more of the stuff that I couldn't when I was a kid. So toys are part of imagination, and it's part of that creativity thing, which is why I love having so many things around. We have a library in the studio because I wanted a place where we could gather all kinds of inspirational resources, from art of books to the entire history of paintings in the Louvre, to design, communication arts, you name it, you know, how to draw some stuff, technical drawing, whatever it is, because there's an education in that, there's inspiration in that. I like to turn to different books for different things as I'm trying to search for ideas myself. And that library is not only for us, you know, it's for other people. So maybe it's people we're mentoring, maybe it's people who are regulars to the studio. People regularly borrow books out of the library, and that's great because all that stuff should be used, and hopefully that's inspiring other people. So this is kind of like a gathering place for resources, and I love having it all here because at any moment, you know, I can go up and pull something out, and you're never done with your education. You know, it's always continuing, and that gives us a chance, whether you work here or whether you're visiting, you know, to grab onto some piece of knowledge or inspiration in your creative field, and hopefully that gives you a little sparkle to do something. My favorite book that's in the library is mainly nostalgia, right? But it's got a lot of really good artwork in it, and it's the making of Aladdin. So Aladdin is my all-time favorite Disney film. I love the look of it, I love the design, I love the storytelling, I love the whole movie. It's my favorite Disney film. And when I was down in Disney World when I was 15, Aladdin had come out, and I'd seen this book, and I really wanted that book, and my parents were like, well, it's kind of too much money right now. Well, they ended up getting it for me and giving it to me as a present, and I would digest that book because I wanted to be an animator, and I would just soak in all this stuff. I must have read that thing, and I can't even tell you how many times. So that book was my very first book, and it started the whole collection. So here is the vision. We have the mission of imagination, creativity, and now we have the vision of how this comes about. And it really sparked off a tour that I did for Little City, which is a not-for-profit here that takes care of special needs adults and children, you know, and the amazing things that they're doing there. And to me it was, how can we do more to help out our own community? So the vision kind of birthed itself out of that, and what I could see was essentially what we're in now, which is the backyard. And in the backyard there are 2 studios, a center for creativity, and a gallery. And it's a creative space. So we have 3 Monkeys and Aardvark Studios, we have Bionic Squirrel Studios, the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity, and the Backyard Gallery, right, where we're representing artists and culture. Craig, who is Chuck's grandson, and I love him to death, and we connect on imagination, creativity. And I've watched what he's done in California, and I've been able to thankfully be a part of events and stuff they've done out there and just soak it up. And I love Chuck Jones. Was instrumental in my creativity, right? My imagination even, on gags and funniness and just humor done in a relatable experience to me. So the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity is all about imagination and creativity in youth and adults as well, and instilling that in people. And Craig and I have been talking about this for a while, and how does this expand beyond California? Like, what would I be able to do to help out in that, because I believe in it. And you need to host events, you need to do stuff like that. Well, renting space and blah, blah, blah. What if we had our own space? What if we had flex use space? Now we do. And we're going to get to use the platform of Chuck Jones, right? And the creative genius that is, and infuse that here and teach, inspire creativity in a teaching atmosphere. So that takes another arm of what I want to do in our vision of not just producing things for clients or producing things for original content, but infusing that in our community. Our community needs this. And I believe that those of us who have the wherewithal and the drive and the passion to do it, we should be on the front lines pushing this, and inviting people in, because we're the ones capable of doing that, and allow them to come up and watch how that spreads. So I'm super stoked about that.